What is next for Ilia Topuria? Well, after knocking out Alexander Volkanovski in round 2, what is next for him? Well, a great fight for him is a fight with Max Holloway, and I'll tell you why. Because both have called each other out. Now, Max Holloway, win or lose against Justin Gaethje, it doesn't matter because he's still ranked #1 in the featherweight division. Now, what will actually happen in this fight? Well, I can see Max Holloway getting knocked out by Ilia Topuria, and I'll tell you why. Because Max Holloway already lost to Alexander Volkanovski 3 times. And let me just remind you, Ilia Topuria just knocked out Alexander Volkanovski in the second round. So it's an easy knockout for Ilia Topuria. Now, the next fight for Ilia Topuria is a fight with Islam Makhachev, and I'll tell you why. Because both fighters have no challengers in their weight division. Now, this fight could go either way. Either Ilia Topuria knocks out Islam Makhachev because Islam Makhachev's striking isn't good as Ilia Topuria's, or Islam Makhachev could submit Ilia Topuria since Ilia Topuria does like wrestling and grappling skills. Now, the next fight for Ilia Topuria is a fight with Conor McGregor, since Ilia Topuria did say that he wants to fight Conor McGregor at any weight division. And let me tell you something, it doesn't matter what weight division it is because Conor McGregor will still get knocked out. His latest performances have been trash, and he has not been active at all.
Now, another fight for Ilia Topuria that we just know is going to happen, and that's a rematch against Alexander Volkanovski, because regardless if Ilia Topuria clearly won that fight by knockout, it's only fair that Alexander Volkanovski gets that rematch because he owned the whole featherweight division for some time before he fought Ilia Topuria. So it's disrespectful to just try to forget about him and talk bad about him, knowing how much of an impact he made on that division. But unfortunately, that rematch will expose Ilia Topuria or Alexander Volkanovski, as it will expose and settle everything. For example, we kind of have an idea and a reason why Alexander Volkanovski got knocked out by Islam, and that's because he took the fight on a 10-day notice. Meanwhile, Islam trained with the intention of fighting Charles Oliveira, since he was supposed to fight Charles Oliveira, so he knew he had to train smart and hard. So just think about it, Islam went into that fight prepared for the worst because he knew that Charles Oliveira was his biggest threat. But for Volkanovski to get knocked out by Ilia Topuria just really pushes him to a spot to the point where he needs to win this rematch to redeem his loss, because if not, then it goes to show that the reason he got knocked out in his latest 2 fights is because he could no longer compete. So in the end, out of all these fights, realistically, what I want to see from Alexander Volkanovski is I want to see him fight somebody in the top 5 in his weight division, then win that fight, so that way all the hope and hype comes back around his name, and then I want to see him get that rematch with Ilia Topuria.